So we roamed the sidelines for 14 years together, and many times, Mike, we'd be in that gym after a game. It was a tough loss or a great win. We'd be sitting in my coach's office till maybe 2 o'clock in the morning, discussing what we want to do and go change. And thank God we had good wives that allowed us to do that in the game of basketball.
Yeah. And what's something you would want people to know about Coach that a lot of people wouldn't know about him?
Well, it's hard that if you knew Mike, then you know how much he cared for people, how much he loved people. And in his coaching, I've heard this many times. I think Rick mentioned on the air last night, players came first. He was a player's coach. He had a great knowledge of the game. I don't think people realize that the concept of basketball that he had was sometimes a little bit ahead of the other people. And he would study the game extremely well. He would, great motivator in his own way. And he had a knack of getting the best out of his players. I think a lot of times, say a coach can coach, but can he develop players? And Mike was one that, when you look at it and you watch his teams, and even an assistant, he was great at developing players, and you could see had a great insight on what could that player do to improve.
Yeah. And there's been no shortage of players that want to tell stories about the coach and talk about what he's meant to them, and that's got to be a testament to the kind of guy he is.
Oh, it is, yeah. And Mike is, like I said, if the good Lord allowed you your highways in life to cross with a person like Mike Saylor, you need to thank God for allowing that to happen, because you will be a better person. Knowing Mike and whatever relationship you had with him, you would come away a better person.
And I guess we talk a little bit about what kind of coach he is and what kind of guy he is, but what do you think he meant to the school there?
Oh, everybody liked him. He was a pillar of South High School, and he knew everybody. I can't believe the memory he had was unreal. I mean, if he had a student, he didn't forget him. Teachers, and he was so friendly. And he knew the history of South. He shared that with him. I mean, he was part of the first when South started, and so South meant so much to him, and that carried over to his life, and then into his faith. He became very strong in his faith. And then when he was met Patricia in Mexico and had a family, all those things were very important to him. And if Mike was one that, if anything was involved in his life, they were important to him. And he gave everything he had, every energy he had, to his job, to where he worked, to his family, to his faith. And he lived, and just like he faced the big sea the same way, when that came calling on him, he was going to fight it. And he did. He fought it to his last breath.
And I guess, are there any stories or anything that you remember about him that you can recall that you think that just sums up who he is in a nutshell?
Well, I guess he was always positive, Mike. I could be down after a loss, and he could see a silver lining. He could see where we could be, and he would lift me up. And so I think that's when a true friend. And also then he was always there. If I need to call him, or many times, I think this is kind of comical, but I locked the keys in my car, and for some reason I didn't have a spare. And it was late at night, and Mike had already gone home. I was at South High School, and I knew he did it, and he was home. We'd left. I came back from a road trip, and I hated to call. I didn't know who else to call, and I called him and got him out of bed. He had already gone to bed, because I'd say he was doing things for some reason, looking over the film or something, and he came, and I thought, well, boy, he might. No, Mike, he come in. He said, well, Coach, I just can't believe you done this. But he took his little gizmo, said, and opened it up, and he said, and got me on my way. And he said, and here's the other thing. Now, Coach, you're going to. He said, give me a call when you get home. and that's like my mom and dad used to do. And so, but that's how he treated me. So that is a story that showed the friendship he had and that we had. And I would cherish so many memories. That was kind of a funny one, but we had a lot of good talks, and he was always there. Mike, if he was your friend, don't look in the dictionary. The definition of a friend, Mike Saylor.
Yeah. And what are you going to miss most about him?
Oh, just able to talk to him. We talk so much about basketball. We have a drill we call the Saylor drill, and just to this day, and we've so many times. Now I wasn't up on this modern technology, Mike, and he likes to text, and I don't like to text, and I do it with my finger, not with my thumbs, and it takes me forever. And so what normally I said, Mike, we could talk, and then we'd get this over in 10 minutes, and we may spend an hour to an hour and a half texting because I'm so slow. But he said, Coach, he said, that's the way to do it now. He said, we don't. And so those are another things that comical that we shared, and he was just a reliable source that I could always count on in talking basketball, but also talking about life and his faith. We both shared our faith together so many times, what Jesus Christ means to both of us. And so I will miss that, but I know he's home now. He's not in pain, and he's not tired anymore. He became very tired. And so it's tough to see a person like that go, but we know in our faith that he's at a better place, and we just thank God that we allowed us to have a life together, and I'll always cherish those 14 years together we had at South.